Right, hello Tara. This is an attempt by me to try and help you with your maths more remotely. We're looking at your starter test, and we're looking at page 6 and question 17. And if you look at question 17, it's got a little problem where you've got to turn a fraction. In this case, it's not a standard fraction. Let's write it down over here somewhere. 16/3. Do you remember what kind of fraction that is? Yeah, it's an improper fraction. We're going to convert that to a mixed number. Okay, mixed number, which basically means we need as many whole numbers as possible, and then any fragments of the fraction left over next to it. We need a whole number and a fraction. So basically we're going to divide 3 into 16. And for that, you sort of need to know your 3 times table. So remember, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, and we can keep going up until 3 times 5 equals 15, and 3 times 6 equals 18. Now I need a number close to 16, but not higher than 16. So 15 seems to fit the bill, 18 is too big. So it looks like we want to use 3 times 5, so the whole number is going to be 5. 3 times 5 is 15. If we take 15 away from 16, we're left with 1. So we're left with 1/3. That's 1/3. 1/3 left over, and there's our final answer. Not too bad. Now you can pause the video at this stage before we go on to 18, and just roll this back again and play it to yourself to see if you get what I'm after. Alright, I'll pause for a second there. Now, Tara, we're going to have a look at question 18. Question 18 says we've got to round a number, a 4-digit number, to 10, 100, and 1,000. Let's put that number down here then. We've got 5176, and we need it to the nearest 10. Okay, so we know that these are units over here, and these are tens. So we look at that 76 as, and we want it to nearest 10. So we could go up to 80, or we could go down to 70. The question is, which is 76 closest to? Yep, 76 is definitely closer to 80. So we're going to turn the 76 into 80, and so the answer is going to be 80. Part B, we've got to do it to the nearest 100. So again, if we look at that 5176, these are the hundreds. If we talk about just that part of the number, we can go and take 176 out on its own. It either goes up to 200 or down to 100. So the question is 176 closer to 200 or 100? And the answer, of course, is closer to 200. So we make that 200. And part C, we should be going to the nearest 1,000. So again, if we look at our 5176, it could go up as high as 6,000. That's the next 1,000 up from 5. Or it could go down to 5,000. The next 1,000 down, basically, from 5176. I think you'll agree that the closest one is 5,000. So the answer is 5,000. We drop all the digits after the 5. And that's the end of question 18. Again, pause the video and have a playback of that if you're not too sure what I was doing. Right, Tara, we're going to look at question 19, which is using nets, and what this means is it's a bit like taking a flat pack box which has been built into a box and then opening back up to get back to a flat pack to see how the box has been made up. So in part A here, we just have a look at part A. Something's been opened up to give us this net, this one here. Just clean that up. So we got to get that and turn it back into some sort of three-dimensional shape. Well, I'm hoping you can see that we've got 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, which all close together to give us a container like this. And if I just dot the lines, the invisible lines inside there so you can see them. So we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4. This is side 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we've got these bits at the top and bottom. So we just have a look. That's the top, and that's the bottom. So the top is this bit here. So we could take that as the top, and the bottom is this bit at the bottom to give it a closed cube shape. There's the bottom. So I hope you got that. This one, last one here, part B, is very similar. If we imagine this as being all rolled up sides 1, 2, 3, and 4, we should get a shape a bit like this. Now if I put the dotted lines inside, so you can see the three-dimensional shape. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll start at the top here, or this side here. So I'll do that in red for you. 1, 2, this one's 3, and this one's 4. So I've got the top side here, this side down here, the one underneath, and the one on the left-hand side. And then we've got top and bottom again. So if we go top of that, this will be the top side here. Close it off. And then we've got the bottom, which is, let's do that in green. The bottom is this bit here, closed off again, to give it a cap at the end. So hopefully you got that and that correct without any problem whatsoever. Right, now we're going to have a go at question 20. 20 on the same page there, page 6, about Sammy and Lucy. I got Sammy and Lucy, and they both go out to buy sandwiches. Now Sammy has £1 to start with, according to the notes here. And Lucy's got a lot more. Lucy's got £5. Now Sammy buys the sandwiches and he gets 13 pence back in change. So his change is only 13 pence. And Lucy gets back in change £2.84. Okay, and we're asked to work out how much the sandwiches cost. Well, a couple of ways you can do this. One is to actually take everything as a collection. We could take these two numbers together to work out what they had to start with, which is equal to £6. And then we could see what they had when they had spent all their money, how much they got left. So that's £2.84 plus 13 pence. I'm keeping them lined up, all the digits in the correct columns. 3 plus 4 is 7, 1 plus 8 is 9, decimal point, 0 and 2 is 2. So they had £2.97 left. So now I could take this number away from that number to find out how much they spent. Let's have a look at that. So we get £6. I'm going to write it down as 6.00. Take away 297. 7 from 0 I can't take, so I borrow 1. 7 from 10 is 3. Bring back the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 from 0 I cannot take, so I borrow 1. 10 from 10 is 0. I have to bring back the 1 I borrowed. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 from 6 is 3. So I'm left with £3 and 3 pence, and that, of course, is what they're asking me to find out, how much we spent on the sandwiches. Now that's one way of doing it. We could try a different way though. We could just clean this up a little bit and do it a slightly different way. Instead of doing it horizontally, we can do it vertically. So we can work out how much did Sammy get back in change. Sorry, how much does Sammy spend on his sandwiches? So we take his £1, I'll write it down as £1 and 00 pence. I'll take away 13. So 3 from 0 I cannot take, borrow 1. 3 from 10 is 7. Bring back the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 from 0 I cannot take, so I borrow 1 to make it 10. 2 from 10 is 0. Bring back the 1. 1 from 1 take away from 1, I end up with 0. So he spent 87 pence, basically, £0.087. Do the same for Lucy. I'll write this over here, 500. Take away 284. 4 from 0 I cannot do, so 4 from 10 will give me 6. Bring back the 1 that I borrowed. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 from 0 I cannot do, so 9 from 10 leaves me 1. Bring back the 1 that I borrowed. Be careful with the decimal point. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 from 5 is 2. So £2 and 16. If we now take the 216 and the 87, that's what they've both got left, and put them together. So I can now add these together like this. 087. 7 and 6 is 13. Carry 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. carry 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. I end up with the same answer, £3 and 6 pence, £3 and 3 pence. Very, very straightforward. So either way is it's up to you. I think I prefer the first way. I think it's a bit neater, but the second way is completely acceptable if you prefer to do it in two extra steps. Okay, Tara, we should now be looking at question 21. So let's just get that up here. Question 21 on page 6, of course, still. We've got to order some fractions. Right, the fractions we've got are 4 over 6, 1 over 2, 5 over 12, and 1 over 4 quarter. And we've got to put them in some boxes. So and we've got to have the smallest one on the left, small up to large on the right. Now, one thing we could have done, or we could do if we had a calculator, is simply divide each of these numbers, the top number by the bottom number, and get it as a decimal, and the smallest decimal number to the left, the largest to the right. But let's assume you have no calculator, which is correct. What we really want to do is see if we can turn all of these into equivalent fractions. Now, we therefore need to know if there's any number that we can use that all these bottom numbers, the denominator, can divide into. I hope you can see straight away that a common number to all of these is actually 12. Right? 6 will go into 12 2 times. Okay, so 6 times 2 will give me 12. 2 will go into 12 6 times, so if you times it by 6 you'll get 12. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. Okay, so 12 seems to be a common number for all of these. So we're going to rewrite these fractions as something over 12. Well, the one that stays the same is 5 over 12. That's no problem. Working from the left then, I've got 6 going into 12. It goes in 2 times. So I'm going to have something over 12. I multiply 6 by 2 to get 12. So I multiply the top number by 2. 4 times 2 will give me 8. So I get 8 twelfths. So again, let's go through that again. To get from 6 to 12, I had to multiply by 2. Therefore, the top number has to multiply by 2 to keep everything the same, top and bottom. So I've got 8 twelfths, because 4 times 2 is 8. 2 goes into 12 6 times. So 6 times 2 will give me 12. Because I'm multiplying it by 6, I've got to multiply the top number by 6. So I get 6 times 1 is 6. 5 over 12 is exactly the same, no change there. And then the last one, 4, well, to get to 12, I multiply by 3. That's okay. So the top number 1 has to be multiplied by 3 as well. I end up with 3 twelfths there. So, which is the biggest and which is the smallest? Well, I think you'd agree. The smallest is 3 twelfths. So that, I'm writing it now, it's its original fraction, a quarter. I've lined them up underneath each other. So 3 twelfths is a quarter. So that goes in the left-hand box. The next one up is 5 twelfths. 5 twelfths is 5 twelfths, so we just put that down. Next one up is 6 twelfths, which is a half. And the last one up is 8 twelfths, which is 4 sixths. And we've just completed the problem. Not too bad, was it? Right, Tara, the last problem on that page 6 is 22, problem 22, and we have got the Smith family, good old Smith family, and they have managed to save up a lot of money between them, £57 and 93 pence. They want to buy a new microwave, and the microwave is going to cost them £23 and 45 pence. So we need to subtract one from the other to find out what they want, which is how much money will they have left over from spending their £23 and 45 pence. So 5 from 3 I can't take, so I borrow 1 to make it 13. 5 from 13 is 8, bring back the 1 I borrowed. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 from 9 is 4, decimal point goes in there. 3 from 7 is 4. 2 from 5 is 3. So the answer is £34 and 48 pence. Right, so that concludes all the problems on page 6.